Greetings everyone and welcome back to the annual Madden review. Now, let me preface this. I am not a football fan. I do not watch the actual games. The only way that I get my NFL sustenance through the years from now on will be through this game. So, if any of you are looking for more realism, or it's not realistic to football, I'm not your guy, nor will I ever will be. This review will purely be as a video game and a video game alone. Now, the Madden series has had its ups and downs in its 30 years of history, and every year we do one of these things. And most of the time we say it's incrementally improved, but not a giant shift. This year is yet another year where it's like this. It probably won't come until the next console generation, so give it 2 years, because there won't be a next-gen version of the game until 2021. So, what is new this year? Well, it's mainly gameplay. As you can see here, the new mode, Face of the Franchise, starts out with actual college games featuring the top 8 from last year's college football playoff, as you start up a rookie quarterback, the only position you can play, and play through an entire career. This start of the mode starts with you playing the college football playoff and getting drafted. But after that, it becomes a default franchise mode, mostly powered by the brand new scenario engine. This makes Face of the Franchise more akin to the one from NBA Live, but not as immersive and not as full as many story scenarios as the one is. It's pretty much a single-player, quarterback-only franchise mode, which, yes, is a total letdown, but at least it's more football than long shot. We're playing more games here than in the previous 2 years, and the career mode can go as long as you want it to go. The negative, though, is you have total control over your plays, which you shouldn't. Having total control over your plays breaks the immersion of you being just a player. You shouldn't have control in any facet in Face of the Franchise of your play call. Secondly, the scenario engine, although a great new feature overall for base franchise, isn't as deep as this recording, but EA does say that there will be future updates adding more scenarios for the engine to pull out of. This will mostly help regular franchise, but hopefully Face the Franchise gets those improvements as well. Other than that, it's your basic franchise mode, which I guess is an improvement, but it's not much. As far as franchise is concerned, contracts are more balanced out, the scenario engine creates more point-getting opportunities for experience, development rate can be hidden among rookies, where rookies have to take 500 snaps in order to determine their development speed, so forth and so forth. Fifth-year options will be added in a future update,
2 yards, good enough,
which will add more depth to the contracts. But it's not this large-scale, massive overhaul that people expect. It's practically more of the same. If you didn't like franchise the previous 2 years, you might like it a little bit better, but not by much. so lower your expectations. As far as gameplay improvements are concerned, the big things on the back of the box are the Superstar X Factor. These are given to the star players of the NFL, giving them special abilities, i.e. Madden 08, that change the game. And trust me, some of them do, like Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald's defensive abilities, or Jalen Ramsey's lockdown defense. But some of the more offensive ones don't really affect the game as much, like Bazooka or First Read. But some of the outward abilities outside of X Factor balance it out. 3 players on each side of the ball can have one of these abilities at a given time. It does make each of the signature star players of today's NFL feel more unique. Plus, with the much improved animation engine for jukes and spins and general movement, gameplay movement actually feels good. And with ball trajectory, balls actually act like they should. Defensive pressure is more realistic, and even throwing off your back foot is extremely punished this year. But sadly, Cover 2 and Cover 3 zone, as of this review, needs some patchwork to be done to be truly viable. One pass option is as enjoyable as you would think it is, but the run pass option plays are way too simplified at this point to be truly game-changing plays. But adding them every once in a while can add some more added rhythm and depth to your play calling. Outside of that, scrambling quarterbacks are given their true scramble speed, and ratings overall have been more balanced out, meaning if you play with weaker players, they'll act like weaker players. The stars actually play like stars. So if you're playing franchise or ultimate team, knowing your team's composition is more important than ever. Commentary remains exactly the same, with lines being directly ripped from 19, and the presentation hasn't really been given much of an overhaul outside of the more appealing looking menu transitions this year. The soundtrack is one of the weakest since the return of EA tracks, with only a couple of tracks bending note. Also, the game takes a mobile game start approach when you first boot up the game, which is kind of a disturbing thing to note. Graphics lighting is much better, and there is much further depth of field, which makes passing a little bit more easier than in years past. And because of those new animations, running the ball also feels generally good. Hopefully, patches don't screw this up in the future, but there's still a lot of patch work to be done before the game reaches its final form. But now it's time to talk about the controversial mode, even though it's not a controversy if you're responsible. Time to talk more in depth about Ultimate Team Mode and why it still sadly is the most improved thing in this game.
It's really something special to see. He makes a point to call her from the locker room after every game, and he says, listen now, she's not afraid to tell me if I do something wrong. She'll critique me in a heartbeat. But it's good to see a young man who wants to give back, one who gets it, and Isaiah Streets certainly gets it.
Emily, too, said to be watching from her hospital room.
I've been playing Ultimate Team since Madden NFL 10, but it didn't really reach its current form until Madden NFL 11. Since then, the mode has grown not only by its controversial microtransaction systems, but in leaps and bounds in gameplays. Madden 19 marked the easiest Madden Ultimate Team has ever been, rewarding grinders with plenty of coins to pick up cards without feeling that pressure to buy their way to the top, although it still is a pressure if you play online. So, understand this, parents and players alike, please be responsible. And if you have a gambling problem, do not play this mode. If you are addicted to the rotation of reward, do not play this mode. Please be responsible in your gameplay time if you do enlist in Ultimate Team. And of course, be responsible with your money. That being said, the last 2 years have been widely spread pro grinder years, and this year is no exception. Taking a cue from the NHL series, most notably NHL 19, Ultimate Team 20 takes on a star system. Every difficulty raises the amount of stars you get, but every goal sometimes has 2 bonus stars that can enlist 5-star challenges. Upon completing each challenge, you will be rewarded based on your difficulty with coins, training points, and ultimately, after reaching milestones, cards and packs. Retrying them is just as easy as starting them, and having to go through menus to get to each challenge. Now, when you complete a challenge, if there is a challenge line, you can start the next one right directly after a short loading screen. Also, training points also act as a way of pack and premium currency as well, and trophies are back through the solo battles that also act as a form of currency. Gone are the tickets for ranked rep, so all you need is money if you want to play the MUT Champions Draft mode and do your most famous fantasy football squads at random. Of course, online head-to-head is where the pros will test you with their cheesy plays and overly done playbooks. Not much has changed there, but with the sheer amount of solo offerings, co-op for the ultimate challenges, formerly known as solos, squads returning, and with things like tickets gone, you finally have full access to all the modes of the game within ease, and the amount of coins you can pick up and cards you can pick up is relatively fast. You'll be building a team from a 62 to the high 70s, possibly low 80s in no time. And training points are even more important due to those superstar X-Factor abilities and your basic chemistries. And building chemistries and knowing your chemistries are much easier due to a more easy-to-see, streamlined menu. Yes, getting through the menus, seeing that it goes from left to right, can be a little bit more complicated, but once you get it down, things are easy to pick up. And challenges are fast, quick, and out of the way, but on the hard mode, they can be genuinely challenging, forcing you to improve your game naturally. All in all, Madden NFL 20 isn't a widespread, massive change like people are expecting, but the building blocks are there for the next generation if they build upon them instead of dropping modes or ideas in the next gen because of time. And clearly, time crunch is still the main issue that keeps this game from being deadly perfect out of the box. But the pieces are there. An Ultimate Team is the easiest to pick up and play and easiest to grind for success that it's ever been, with all of its modes now free of things like tickets. Yes, microtransactions still haunt the mode extremely, but not as much as they have in previous years. But like I said at the top, be very, very careful if you decide to be an Ultimate Team player. And please be responsible if you're going to spend money on it. Outside, the other game modes are decent enough. Skill trainers still exist, gauntlets still exist, everything still exists. It's just a more improved version of 19, which is not bad, but not necessarily great either. Those that were expecting widespread change will be disappointed. But it's better to be on the right track than off track at all. Sure, this game isn't $60 worth of an improvement, but it's not a game to be ignored in future months when it obviously goes on budget. Sure, I may have spent $90 in this year's version, but it doesn't mean you don't have to. So wait for a sale for this one. Otherwise, you'll get a lot more out of it than you're thinking. Just make sure to lower your expectations, and if you're expecting a realistic football game, I'm sorry. You might have to wait for the next generation of consoles to get closer to that. Sadly, this year's not the year, but things are looking upward. That's why I give Madden NFL 20 a 7 out of 10. So, if you agree with me, drop a like and a comment telling me why. And if you want to follow my Ultimate Team's progress from week to week, check out the new Code Equestria series, No Money Warrior. That way, you can see my team improve as I do it without spending a dime. Thus showing you how easy it is to go grinding this year, just like I said in the review. And if you want more stuff, you can hit the end card or hit the subscribe button by clicking the logo on the end card to keep up with the progress on Madden. Or if you're into My Little Pony, there are reviews of that all over the place, and other video game reviews to come. Until next time, I'm Nirvana Sparkle. Find peace in your own Nirvana. And thanks for watching. Enjoy these last 30 seconds of gameplay.
Taken down, losing yardage at the 50, right at midfield. Well, where do you find that one in the playbook, Charles?
You don't. You absolutely don't. And sometimes what happens is guys want to make a big play, and they turn it into a really bad one. Sometimes you're best just to cut your losses and go down. I hope we don't see another play like that. I'll guarantee you the offensive coordinator, he's looking at his play sheet. He can't find it either.
Yeah, big loss there on the pass completion.